I hope you're doing well. I hope you're enjoying the content that I put out this week. I just wanted to make another video to talk to you today because I think it's really important to think about this and to meditate over what I'm going to say. I have channel memberships open. I'm just kidding. That's not what I was going to say. I do have channel memberships open though, and link in the description box below. But that's not what we're talking about today. So you clicked on this video because you saw this variegated epipremnum aureum, which is also known as devil's ivy, which is also known as pothos. And I think this one specifically is a variegated pothos. And I actually have a little bit of a story behind it. So this one doesn't have very much variegation. I didn't buy it because of the variegation. I bought this because of a story I wanted to tell you today, and because of a message that I think that we all need to hear. So, a pothos is, and I'll give you a close-up on this plant in a minute. A pothos is one of the very first plants that I ever purchased. You see them everywhere. They're in doctor's offices. They're on end tables. They're everywhere. Everyone has one. People who collect rare plants don't even have one anymore because it's just so common they don't want to look at it. Everybody's got one. And that's why I bought one today. Because it was one of the first plants that I purchased. And I had it for so long that when I started getting rare plants like Philodendron verrucosum and Philodendron splendid, and I started growing big-leafed plants in Asiltspicana El Salvador, and I originally started buying plants because they make me happy. And I like them. But I think it's important for us to hang on to that and to remember that. Because once I started selling rare plants and I opened up a little mini plant shop on the side, and I started hunting down these plants and buying in bulk, and I started buying from overseas, and I started importing, and I sold my pothos and got rid of them, and I didn't want to even look at them anymore because it wasn't rare. And I now am kind of ashamed of that, because when did it stop being enough? When did just owning plants stop being enough for me? When did I turn into one of these people that have to have the rarest of the rare just to have it? Because it wasn't about enjoying the things that you have anymore. It wasn't about nature anymore. It wasn't about loving, and it wasn't about growing something that's alive. It was about having the rare plant that no one else has, and that is not fun. It wasn't fun anymore. And I always found something that I wanted and didn't have, and felt unhappy that I didn't have it. And that's not the way to do this. That's not the way to have a hobby. That's not the way to enjoy anything. And I'm telling you this because when I first started streaming, I was making plant videos for my other channel. I was taking care of these plants and having a shop. I was also making ASMR videos. I was working a full-time job. And I was game streaming, which takes hours and hours and hours itself to do. And I wasn't having fun with any of it like I used to. And I couldn't figure out why the value that I had in all of these things were slipping away from me. And it didn't mean anything anymore. And I ended up bringing it up in therapy because I see a therapist. I've been seeing one ever since my grandfather passed, every week or 2 weeks for about 3 years now, just to talk and touch base. And it's one of the best decisions I've ever made for my mental health. And I figured it out. You cannot do all of the things that I'm doing and have the emotional labor and time to love them. Because if you are making videos for multiple channels and working another full-time job and owning a plant shop and hunting down the rarest of the rare and streaming, and you're doing all of these things, how are you going to have time to take care of yourself? How are you going to have time to sleep? How are you going to have time to love yourself? How are you going to have time to love what you're doing if you've got a list of 10,000 things to do? So much so that you spend until 12:30 every single night doing them, and you don't have time to eat, and you don't have time to drink water. Exhaustion leads to burnout, which leads to depression and anxiety. And that cycle will lead to a physical illness as well, because it hurts your nervous system. And for the past month, I was talking it over with my therapist, and he was like, what is something out of all of these activities, what is the one thing that you want to focus on that makes you the happiest, that gives you the most benefit, that you know you can do well in? And it was, I didn't even have to think about it. It was ASMR. I was making ASMR YouTube videos. And he was like, okay, do that full time. Full-time ASMR videos. And then just stream every once in a while. Don't do it all the time. Do it for fun. Do ASMR for fun. But stop when you hit the limit of, I need to take care of myself for a little bit. Find the balance. Find the line. So that way you know how much you can give. And then give it all to ASMR. Because that's where your happiness is, and that's where your hobby is. So instead of streaming 4 days a week, I stream maybe one weekend or every other weekend, and I just give my time to ASMR. And that's what I have to do. When I moved, I sold all of my plants because I needed to. I couldn't take care of them all, and I didn't have the space for them. And I was grocery shopping today at the end of a week when I had to take an entire week off to get my ducks in a row, to catch up on my budget planner, to catch up on my calendar, to make sure I have everything that I need and that I am getting the rest that I need. I was grocery shopping today, and I walked past this golden pothos, and it made me think of the balance of what you love, what you need, and what you want. And then it made me think about what your mind wants versus what your body needs. Because that is the trick. And I bought this because in the beginning of buying plants, it was enough. This was enough. And when did the joy in this stop? When did this stop being enough? When did just filming videos and editing them and posting them and talking to you all and communicating with you all, when did that stop being enough? And what do you have going on in your life that you need to prioritize? What do you have going on in your life that you need to focus on? Sometimes this is enough. Sometimes it's enough. And can that be okay? This leaf is beautiful. It was beautiful when I first bought a plant, and it still is. This plant deserves the care that I would give a rare plant, and it will thrive and it will do well. So I just wanted to give you a little message of, I don't know what you're going through, and if you want to talk about it, this entire community that is here would love to give you some positive feedback, because I keep this a safe space. So you can drop whatever you feel comfortable dropping in the comments, and I will be watching. I will see you guys in the next video, and I hope that you have a good night, and I hope that you find your balance. Sleep well.